Last week, I met Tom, a successful doctor who thought he had it all figured out. At 49, he realized he'd made the same devastating mistakes that 68% of Gen Xers are making right now. The shocking part? He was $857,000 short of where he needed to be for retirement. And here's what terrifies me. You might be in the exact same boat without even knowing it. Those weekend brunches? That new car? The responsible investment choices you're so proud of? They might be the very things destroying your retirement dreams. But here's the thing, it's not too late. If you avoid these 5 critical mistakes I'm about to show you, let's talk about mistake number 1, what I call the home equity trap. Back in the 80s and 90s, our parents watched their home values skyrocket. They'd buy a house for $80,000, and by retirement, it was worth $400,000. That story? It's burned into our Generation X brains. But here's the brutal truth about 2024. That strategy is a ticking time bomb for your retirement. Let me show you what happened to Sarah, a client who came to me last year. She had a beautiful $750,000 home in Denver, mostly paid off. Sounds great, right? Sarah thought she had her retirement figured out until we ran the numbers. Even if she downsized to a $400,000 home, that would only free up $350,000. With today's living costs and 20-plus years of retirement ahead, that's barely 4 years of expenses. And that's assuming the market doesn't crash right when you need to sell. So here's your action plan. First, calculate your real home equity. That's current value minus your mortgage and minus 8% for selling costs. Second, assume you'll only access 40% of that equity for retirement because you'll still need somewhere to live. Finally, and this is crucial, start building what I call your freedom fund outside of home equity. That means maxing out your 401(k), opening a Roth IRA if you qualify, and creating additional investment streams. Remember, your house isn't a retirement plan. It's where you live. Treat it that way. Mistake number 2 hits close to home for many of us, sacrificing your retirement for your kids' college education. I'm about to show you some numbers that might make you uncomfortable, but they're numbers you need to see. Compound interest calculator. If you redirect $500 monthly from your retirement to a college fund for 10 years, you're not just giving up $60,000, you're losing $286,000 in retirement money. That's what that same amount would have grown to by the time you're 65. Now, meet Michael and Jennifer. They were determined to give their 2 kids a debt-free college experience. Noble goal, right? But by emptying their 401(k)s and stopping contributions in their peak earning years, they created a $1.2 million retirement shortfall. Their kids got their degrees, but now Michael and Jennifer might need to move in with them someday. That's not the legacy any of us want to leave. Instead, here's your 3-part battle plan. First, establish your non-negotiable retirement contribution baseline. That means 15% minimum, no touching it, no exceptions. Second, explore the hidden college funding goldmine. Community college for 2 years can save $50,000 or more. Merit-based scholarships, work-study programs, and employer tuition reimbursement can cover another $30,000 to $70,000. Finally, have the tough conversation with your kids. Share your retirement numbers openly. Show them how student loans at 5% interest make more financial sense than depleting your retirement accounts growing at 8%. Remember this, you can borrow for college, but you can't borrow for retirement. Your kids have time on their side. You don't. The best gift you can give them isn't a debt-free degree. It's the security of knowing they won't have to support you in retirement. Graph showing market returns. If you're keeping most of your money in safe investments like CDs and bonds, I need you to pay close attention to what I'm about to share. Over the last 30 years, while the stock market averaged nearly 10% annual returns, the average Gen X investor earned just 3.2%. That's not because of market performance, it's because of fear-based decisions. Let me put this in perspective. $100,000 invested at 3.2% becomes $258,000 in 30 years. The same amount at 10%, it explodes to over $1.7 million. That's the real cost of playing it too safe. I recently analyzed Janet's portfolio. a successful attorney who thought she was being responsible by keeping 70% of her investments in bonds. Here's the wake-up call. At 45, she had effectively guaranteed herself a retirement shortfall. With 20-plus years until retirement, inflation was silently eating away at her purchasing power faster than her safe investments could grow. Here's what savvy Gen Xers are doing instead. First, they're using what I call the age minus 10 rule for bond allocation. At 45, that means no more than 35% in bonds, not 70%. Second, they're diversifying across market caps and sectors, not just hiding in large-cap dividend stocks. Third, and this is where most people miss out, they're maintaining global exposure through low-cost ETFs, capturing growth wherever it happens. Look, I get it. The dot-com crash and 2008 left scars, but overcompensating with ultra-conservative investments is just as dangerous as being too aggressive. Your mission this week: pull up your investment statements. If you're not properly allocated for growth, it's time to make adjustments. Remember, the biggest risk isn't losing money in the market. It's not having enough when you need it. Mistake number 4 could be costing you hundreds of thousands in retirement, and it's hiding in plain sight. I just reviewed Tom's retirement accounts last month. He had $800,000 saved. Impressive, right? But when we dug deeper, 95% was in traditional pre-tax accounts. That's a tax bomb waiting to explode. Let me paint this picture clearly. At today's tax rates, someone withdrawing $80,000 yearly in retirement will pay about $12,000 in taxes. But here's what most Gen Xers miss. Tax rates in 2040 aren't likely to be lower than they are now. In fact, with government debt and social program obligations, they'll probably be significantly higher. That $12,000 could easily become $20,000 or more. The solution requires what I call tax diversification. Think of your retirement savings like investment diversification, but for taxes. Smart Gen Xers are implementing 3 key moves right now. First, they're maximizing Roth conversions during lower income years, paying the tax bill now while rates are historically low. Second, they're strategically splitting new contributions between traditional and Roth accounts based on their current tax bracket. Third, they're building tax-free bridges using HSAs and municipal bonds for additional tax flexibility. Here's your immediate action plan. Pull your last tax return and current retirement account statements. Map out your tax bracket trajectory, both now and in retirement. If you're below the 32% bracket, seriously consider Roth conversions. Next, calculate your retirement tax exposure. If more than 70% of your nest egg is in pre-tax accounts, it's time to rebalance your tax diversity. Remember, it's not just about how much you save, it's about how much you keep after taxes. The 5th mistake might be the most dangerous because it's completely invisible until it's too late. The numbers I'm about to share stopped me in my tracks when I first saw them. A 45-year-old who waits just 5 years to secure proper coverage will pay an average of $212 more per month for the same protection. That's over $50,000 in wasted premiums by retirement age. Last month, I sat down with David, a successful small business owner. He had meticulously planned his retirement, maxed out his 401k, diversified his investments, but missed one critical detail. His disability insurance covered just 40% of his income. When a sudden health issue forced him to stop working for 8 months, that gap nearly wiped out 2 decades of careful saving. Time for your coverage audit. Pull out every insurance document you have. First, check your disability insurance. You need at least 65% income replacement, and it must be own occupation coverage. Second, analyze your life insurance gap. Take your annual income, multiply it by the years until retirement, subtract your current coverage. That's your protection shortfall. Start with term life insurance. It's about 80% cheaper than whole life for the coverage you need right now. Next, secure long-term disability through your employer or an independent policy, and don't overlook long-term care insurance. At our age, every year you wait increases the premium by 810%. Book an appointment with an independent insurance broker this week. The best time to evaluate your coverage was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. Let's talk about catching up because our recent survey showed 68% of viewers are behind on retirement savings. Savings acceleration chart. Working with hundreds of clients, I've developed what I call the 151515 acceleration formula. Take your current annual income, multiply by 15, subtract your existing savings. That's your shortfall. Now divide by the years until retirement. That's your annual catch-up target. But here's where most catch-up advice falls short. They tell you to slash expenses without showing you how. Based on analyzing over 500 successful catch-up plans, here's the proven framework. First, redirect 15% of your gross income to retirement immediately through payroll deductions. Second, capitalize on catch-up contributions. That's an extra $7,500 in your 401(k) and $1,000 in your IRA. Third, monetize your expertise through a side business focused on consulting or freelancing in your industry. Download your 90-day acceleration plan using the link below. Week 1. Automate your new contribution levels. Week 2. Schedule your catch-up contribution adjustments with HR. Week 3. List your marketable skills and identify 3 potential consulting opportunities. Week 4. Set up your LLC and create a basic business website. Track your progress monthly using the downloadable spreadsheet. Your target is to increase your retirement contributions by at least 1% every 90 days until you hit your catch-up number. Remember, you're not starting over, you're starting from experience. Every dollar you commit now is worth $5 less of stress later. Standing still is moving backward when it comes to your financial future. These 5 mistakes aren't just numbers on a page. They're the difference between retiring on your terms or working another decade. I've compiled everything we covered into a free financial reset kit. Download it now using the link below. Inside, you'll find the exact spreadsheets, calculators, and templates my private clients use to implement these strategies. Book your complimentary strategy session this week. Together, we'll create your personalized action plan and get you back on track. The next 5 years will pass whether you take action or not. Make them count. Hit that subscribe button and let's build your financial future together. The time for action is now.